This is Taylor from Nuts and Bolts Speed Training with how to inverse and transpose a PowerPoint graphic. So for example, taking the continuous pictureless smart art graphic and either inversing it so that the pictures are at the bottom, the text is at the top, but everything is still right side up, or transposing it so that the pictures are on the left side of the slide and the text is moving across the right. And the trick to pulling this off is understanding how shapes rotate when they're grouped as a single graphic and when they're ungrouped as individual objects. So let's first start with inversing the graphic. And here in PowerPoint, I have a smart art graphic that I want to inverse. But notice that if I select the smart art graphic and I come up to the arrange tool, none of the rotate options are available to me here with smart art. So if you're rotating or inversing a smart art graphic, you first need to break it. So just hit Ctrl-Shift-G once on your keyboard to break it from smart art into a grouped graphic of shapes. If I hit Ctrl-Shift-G a second time, you can see that all the individual objects are just individual pieces, and I'll Ctrl-Z back to the group set of objects. With the objects grouped, no longer is a smart art graphic. If you now come to the arrange tool, come down to rotate, you can flip vertical, which turns everything upside down. With everything upside down and still grouped, just ungroup it, Ctrl-Shift-G once. You can see all the individual pieces. Come back to the arrange tool, come back to rotate, and select flip vertical, and everything will turn itself right side up. From here, you will need to select your objects and navigate to the top margin, bottom margin section. I'm just gonna put a margin in of 0.5, which will put my text more or less directly beneath my arrow there. So that's how to inverse a smart art graphic. Now let's look at transposing it. So back with my original smart art graphic, this time we're gonna transpose it so that the pictures are on the left side of the screen and the text is there on the right. Again, because we have smart art, we'll first need to break it, so Ctrl-Shift-G once to ungroup it. You're gonna need to resize this a little bit. This requires a little bit of massaging because we're moving from a wide screen to a vertical column. We again wanna come to the arrange tool. We're gonna rotate. This time we're gonna rotate left 90 degrees. You could alternatively put the pictures on the right side of your slide. I'm gonna put them on the left, so I'm gonna rotate left. I'm gonna need to resize this a little bit more so that this fits on my screen like that. Once it fits, you're gonna Ctrl-Shift-G again. You're gonna hold and shift unselect the arrow, then come back to the arrange tool, rotate. You wanna rotate the opposite direction, so I'll rotate right. I will unselect the pictures. This does require a little bit of massaging to get this onto your slide correctly. You're gonna also need to come back and find your top margins. I'm gonna take my top margin away. I'm gonna take my bottom margin away. I'm gonna also add a left margin of enough so that the text is over there on the right by itself. I'm just gonna quickly massage this around a little bit more, and you're gonna eventually end up with something like this. So that's how to quickly take a PowerPoint graphic and either inverse or transpose it, which is just one of many techniques for working smarter in PowerPoint to save you time. This is Taylor from Nuts and Bolts Speed Training, and I'll see you at happy hour.